All right, let's start another math lesson. This one is going to be about expressing fractions and percentages. Let me just put that here. So we're going to be expressing fractions and percentages. All right, so just bring this down here, and then I'll put this over here. The objective. So the objective is as follows. We want to express one quantity as a fraction or percentage of another. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to express a quantity as a fraction, and then we're going to express a quantity as a percentage. Once you know how to express a quantity as a fraction, the next part where we express it as a percentage is just simply taking the fraction, multiplying it by 100, and we'll get it as a percentage. All right. So nothing difficult today as well. Let's go explain all of this here now. So, right, this needs to move down, then we come over here and do another one here, and we're going to be expressing a quantity as a fraction. Put the next line here, space, right. Now, since you already know what a fraction is, then we can express a quantity as fraction by just simply using a formula, right? So since you already know what a fraction is, then we can express quantities as fractions by using the formula that I'm stating below. Let's say the formula is as follows. Let's use orange. The formula is number of parts over number of parts in the whole. All right. So let's say, for example, you know what? Let me just write this as a text instead. So let's say, for example, think. Right. Let's say, for example, if I have 8 apples and I give 2 to my daughter, then what fraction do I remain with? And what fraction did I give to her? All right. So that's fairly straightforward. Okay. Let's continue the solution for this. So let's say the fraction, not faction, fraction to my daughter is going to be 2 out of my total 8. So the number of parts that I gave to my daughter, let me write this in a different color. So the number of parts that I gave to my daughter divided by the number of parts in the, let me just write this, in the whole. Right? That's what I did. And after I do that, I just simply reduce. So 2 into 2, 1, 2 into this, 4, so I get a quarter. And that's the fraction I gave to my daughter. Now, what is the fraction I kept? So let me write that out. So fraction kept by me. I kept 6 out of the 8. So number of parts that I kept divided by the number of parts in the whole. That is, well, I'll divide this by 2, I get 3. Divide this by 2, I get 4. So 3/4. Right? So I gave a quarter of the apples to my daughter and I kept 3/4 for myself. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to express a quantity as a percentage. So let me just see it as yellow. Okay, let me put yellow here. So let's say expressing a quantity as a percentage. Put that in yellow, right? And write out something. All right, so remember as well now for percentages that a percentage is the amount of parts per 100. So what we're going to do is we're going to express it as a fraction first, and then we're going to find out what fraction of that 100 is represented by this fraction, or what percentage of the 100, or how much of the 100 is represented by this fraction. All right, so you're basically finding the fraction of 100 every time you find a percent. All right, so let me just write a note here for this. So we say, remember, a percentage is the amount of parts per 100. So to write a quantity as a percentage, we first express the quantity as a fraction and calculate a fraction of the whole number 100. All right, so let me do that. Yeah, let me do an example. Right? Oh, actually, you know what? Let me put a formula here for you. Oopsie, white. So let me put a formula here for you. So quantity, if you want to express a quantity as a percentage, what we can say is we can take the fractions, which is the number of parts over the number of parts in the whole, and times it by 100. All right, and then from the earlier example, we already know how to calculate, well, how to determine a fraction, which is this right here. So this is a fraction. And all we're doing is we're finding the fraction of 100 that represents, and that will give us the percentage. All right, so let me just put next page, and then we're going to put something here. We're going to say, well, from the example earlier, if I want to write the percentage given to my daughter and the percentage I kept, then what I would do is I would take the fraction and multiply it. So let me just write this out here. Change the pencil. Write it out here. So the percentage given to daughter would be fraction given to daughter times 100 pieces. So we're finding out the fraction of that 100 pieces. So 1/4 of 100, 4 into this, 25. That means 25, and we put a percent sign so that you recognize it's a percentage we're writing here. Following the same principle, let me just, I will leave it as it is. Let's say the percentage given to, actually not given to, kept by me would be equal to the fraction kept by me times 100, and I kept 3/4 times 100. 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 100, 25, and then that will be 75%. All right, so now you know how to express a quantity as a fraction of another or as a percentage of another. When you do the exercise sheet, you will come across some questions that you can practice with. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.